I'm Adams Wood. I'm a filmmaker from Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm making this video to share tips about doing videography at home with your smartphone. RiverArts asked me to put this together for teachers, students, members, and staff and friends of RiverArts so that they can help move more of their content online. Modern phones have become pretty amazingly capable video cameras. And it's cool to see Hollywood films and big shows that have been shot with this object that most of us are carrying around with us most of the time. I have an iPhone, and that's what I know the best, but of course this also applies to Android and as well as iPads and other tablet type devices. We're going to talk about lighting, framing, stabilization, sound, and a little bit on post-production. There are some accessories that you could consider to make your camera a better filmmaking device. You can get a little tripod for about $20 specifically for the phone. It's just a small thing that you could put on a table or something like that to help you aim the phone exactly where you want it. There's also microphones that go directly into the phone that could be useful, and there are camera apps that are an alternative to the camera app that comes in the phone. The most popular one is called Filmic Pro. It gives you control over focus and exposure and color balance that you just can't get with the regular camera app, but you can get some good results without spending any money. Framing. If you're a photographer, if you're a painter, you're probably thinking about composition all the time. When you're filming, you have the choice to hold your phone vertically or horizontally, but I recommend horizontal because this is the shape of a TV set or a movie screen, and it's the shape of most video players online as well. If you're filming yourself or another person, generally you want to keep the camera at approximately eye level. You want them to fill up the frame enough so that we can see the eyes and expressions. So a classic medium shot is kind of head and shoulders with a little bit of room above the head, but not too much. If you get a lot closer than that, it can be very dramatic, but it might also feel a little claustrophobic. When you are setting up your shot, you want to get the camera physically close enough to get the shot that you want. You don't generally ever want to zoom with the zoom function on the phone because you're going to lose resolution. And also, if the camera's not locked off, then that's going to produce much shakier footage when you zoom in. With framing, you can think about the rule of thirds as a guide, and what that is basically superimposing an imaginary tic-tac-toe board on your viewfinder, on your screen, and using that as a guide. So if you're outside, you might put the horizon lined up with the lower line or the upper horizontal line on that tic-tac-toe board. And when you're filming a person, you might line their eyes up with one of the intersections on that tic-tac-toe board or any other sort of major feature. You might do that, and that's just a way of creating a composition that's relatively balanced. So let's talk about lighting. With phones and most photography, the number one thing is just try to avoid excessive backlighting. That would be when you put your subject in front of a window or some other strong light source. And this is especially important with a phone because most of the controls on the phone are going to be automatic, and so your phone is going to try to adjust exposure for that bright light source, and then the person standing in front of that you're trying to film is going to become very, very dark, and you're not going to be able to see them. So that's the number one thing with lighting and phones, is just avoid backlight. In general, you want a fairly bright, evenly lit scene that's going to produce a better image. And in order to achieve that, you might open a curtain to let in some daylight. You might use some nice bright lights in your house. You might consider filming outside. We can also talk about color balance with lighting. Different light sources have different color temperatures. Daylight is measured at about 5,500 to 6,500 Kelvin, and incandescent bulbs and most of the lights in your house are usually measured around 3,200 Kelvin. So you can light your subject with daylight or tungsten, and either one will look fine. Your phone camera will adjust for it automatically. If it doesn't, you can fix it later in some kind of editing software. But if you're, where you might run into issues is when you're mixing multiple sources of light. So if you have strong daylight coming in through the window and you have the lights on in your house, you might notice some funny things going on where like one side of a face is a lot cooler than the other one. So that might just be something to be aware of. To keep your footage relatively steady and keep the shake out of it, you're going to want some kind of stabilization, and that might be a tripod. There's tripods designed specifically for phones. If you're just holding your phone, you can kind of brace your arms against your body like so. You can also just rest your phone against some kind of object. There are motorized gimbals you can use, such as this one. It's the Ronin SC. Your phone would go right there. I could see this being useful for filming all the way around a large sculpture, for instance. Something like this would allow you to get a lot of creative camera movement and still keep your footage steady. When we're filming, most of the time, we're connecting an external microphone like this to the camera and getting that as close to our subject as possible. With the phone, the built-in microphone is just a little tiny thing at the bottom. So you just want to get that phone as close to your subject as possible. Instead of filming yourself from across the room, you just want to get close, and you want to stay away from distracting sounds like barking dogs or construction. You just want to be really aware of that. Another thing you can do is if you have some headphones like this that you might use for a phone conversation or for a Zoom call, of course there's a microphone built into that, and the microphone is here. So you could just plug this right into your phone and then clip this little thing to your lapel and film yourself, and you could probably get some really great sound that way. This is what it sounds like with just the built-in microphone, and then plugging in the headphones here and speaking into the microphone. I think the audio should be a lot clearer. You can also plug a regular external microphone into the phone, and what you need is just a specialized TRRS connector, and that connector would go into the lightning dongle that goes into the phone. Once you're done with your video, you have some great video and sound on your phone, you're going to need to get that off of your phone and into some kind of form where you can post it or edit it. And you want to make sure that you do that without losing resolution or quality. Because when you email or just text those video files, a lot of times your phone will compress that. Things you can do: if you have an iPhone, you can use AirDrop. You would need an Apple computer as well for that. You can also hook your phone up to your computer and sync it using iTunes. You would need a cord for that. You can also use apps like Google Photos is something you can use for iPhone and Android, and if you select original quality when you're backing up and syncing those files, then you'll know that you're getting the highest quality video off of your phone. And that way you can get it onto a computer, you can use an editing program to do whatever changes you need to with that and before it gets uploaded. If you are working directly with RiverArts, I believe there's going to be some more information in the description of this video about how to prepare your footage specifically for that. thanks so much for watching. If you have any feedback, feel free to contact me. Once again, look in the description of the video for more information, and be well.